Hello, Brigadiers and Brigadettes and hockey fans alike. This is your captain speaking. Welcome to my channel. Now let's jump into some hockey content. Hello everybody, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Blackhawks today and how bad it could get. So, before I start, I just wanted to say that I'll probably just be covering bigger news stories each week. That doesn't mean necessarily that I won't talk about the Blue Jackets by any means. I will still do that as long as it's newsworthy. I'm not going to cover some small minor detail. If there's a juicier story in the NHL, I will pursue it. So, with that being said, we're going to be talking about the Chicago Blackhawks today, and again, how bad it could get. The Blackhawks are, as of today, 0-3-1 on the season, and even though it's only been 4 games, I think it'll continue to be rough. The goals for the Blackhawks are 9, and then they have 20 goals against, or 20 goals allowed. If they continue on this pace, they'd finish the season with 126 goals for and a staggering 280 goals against or goals allowed. Well, I don't think they'd allow that many goals because that'd actually be about 5 goals per game. I do think that the hard times will continue, but is it all their fault? Is this all on Chicago? Not exactly. The Blackhawks have lost their 2 top centers due to different issues. Captain Series, aka Jonathan Toews, will possibly miss the entire season due to an unknown issue. Toews has been reported to have said that he feels lethargic and drained and has asked for privacy during this time. Now, I'm not one to speculate, but it could either be COVID is what I'm thinking, and then this is worst case scenario. This is not me doing like a clickbait thing or anything like that, but I do wonder if it could be cancer. Now, I'm not saying that that could be the case, but there has been times that players in, their playing career have been diagnosed with cancer. And if that's the case, that is just terrible news. And obviously my, sympathies, all that go to Jonathan Toews. I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that maybe he's got a thyroid issue or something like that. So obviously they lost their top line center. And let's be honest, Toews consistently brings high-end offensive production every year. So the team lost someone who could provide 20 plus goals, 35 plus assists easily in a season. Easily. 2 years ago he had 81 points. He's also very good off the faceoff, so that hurts as well. Then the Blackhawks lost their second-line center, Kirby Dach, due to a wrist injury he suffered at World Juniors. That wasn't even in an actual game. That was in a tune-up game against Russia. I don't remember if it was their first shift or what, but I remember watching it live and just being confused. And as soon as I saw his wrist, I said, ew, and knew that it had to be relatively serious. Dach might not have put up crazy stats in his rookie season, but he did provide positive play on both ends of the ice, and it was expected to grow in his sophomore season. This leaves their center depth insanely thin, and doesn't get better from there. The Blackhawks are the 13th worst team in the league right now for shots against per 60. I'm going by rates instead of counts because everybody's played a different amount of games, partially due to COVID and other things. So we're going to go by rates instead of counts, instead of saying they've given up 233 shots or something like that, which is, not going to be accurate with the league. So we're going to go by rates. They're also the 12th worst team for scoring chances against per 60. On top of that, the team, in a limited sample size, has the 5th worst Corsi on the penalty kill, also allowing 10 more shots against, or the 10th most shots against on the PK, per 60, of course. While they do allow few scoring chances for the penalty kill, they are 14th worst in the league, I believe, for high danger chances against. Factor in the fact that they have the 7th worst save percentage on the penalty kill. It's not hard to understand that they've only killed 10 out of the 15 penalties they've taken. Ironically, the Hawks are the 9th best penalty kill, or they were last season. But there's likely a number of reasons why that's probably the case, and why this season it continues to just go downhill, and it'll probably be, in my opinion, one of the worst penalty kills in the league. And I think a big reason for that, I didn't go back and check all the stats, but, looking at the 2 goalies they rolled out with last year with Crawford and Leonard, obviously both had above average goals saved against average, which is a positive sign in the league. So I do think that those 2 starting in net was probably a big reason why their penalty kill was so good last year. Again, I could go back and see that maybe they were, defensively a good team, but you can't tell me that wasn't part of the reason. Those 2 goaltenders aren't there anymore to bail the team out. And while Malcolm Subban and Colin Delia being the 2 goalies to stop the puck in net for Chicago, things aren't going to go well. And Malcolm Subban has the 15th worst goal save against average in the league, with his goals saved against average being negative 1.25. And then Delia, this is as of last night when I took these notes, but they are up to date. Delia has the worst goal saved against average in the entire league. Yes, the entire league, with a negative 0.40 or negative 4.02. Yeah, things are looking pretty bad for this team right now. So let's just say, is there anything to look forward to? Well, the power play is performing above expectations right now, and it's humming along at an insane 41.7%. The best power play last year by percentage was the Edmonton Oilers at 29.41%. So you can see that the Blackhawks power play will eventually probably dip off as the season goes along, and it again likely will anyway because they're outperforming their power play with multiple areas. They're not supposed to be where they are with this. But I will say, that has been one area where the offense has clicked. Through the first 4 games, they've scored at least one power play goal each game. There's a few things to watch, though. There are a few things to get excited about, so it's not all completely doom and gloom. The first is you get to watch Patrick Kane go ham all year and try to put up crazy offensive numbers. Let's be real, Patty Kane has never been a guy that has ever been interested in playing defense. I could go back and look through and see his defensive ratings by year. You know, he might have had a year or two where it's positive, I really don't know, but I can guarantee you for the majority of his career, it has been negative numbers. The thing is, he provides amazing, absolutely amazing offensive values. Great point totals, great goal scoring. So, at the end of the day, Patrick Kane will put up big offensive numbers this year. I think they're just going to let him run free and say forget defense, especially this season. The second is that you'll get to see Alex DeBrincat try to rebound from a tough offseason last year. His first 2 years in the league, he obviously looked like he was putting on a good show. And then last year, not a terrible year, but just a down year compared to his standards. So I'm very curious to see if he'll have a bounce-back offensive season. The next one, and I was going to look up how to say his name because I thought it was like Hornquist, but I could get this wrong. Blackhawks fans, if you're listening, please tell me. The next one, this is the most interesting for me to watch, is Adam Boquist. And I could get that wrong. Let's say Boquist, maybe. But I think it's like Hornquist or Lundquist. Anyway, we get to watch him grow into a top-pairing defenseman. I have watched some games and paid attention to him. While his offensive numbers, as of right now, again, it's a very small sample size, may take a dip, I do think that his defensive numbers are actually better than last year. And I think he's going to provide positive value offensively and defensively. And I think that, he could be possibly a top-pairing defenseman for Chicago in the future going forward for quite a few years if he continues to grow. And then finally, I think this is another interesting one, Dominik Kubalk. You can see him try to repeat his offensive success from last season. One thing that's really interesting about him is while his defense really doesn't provide any value, it does not kill you to the extent of Patrick Kane's defense. So, for instance, last year Kubalk had a defensive rating of, I think, negative 1.1. And to give you perspective, I think Patrick Kane's was a negative 7.2. That's a big difference. And if he can replicate what he did last year, then the team should be excited about what's in store because he put up 30 goals, 46 points, and he just had really good offensive value. So they might have a guy to build around as well with this team. Basically what I'm saying is things could get pretty bad this year, but enjoy the good things about this team and hope and pray you get the first pick. Again, it's going to be a rough season, but, hold your head up high. Enjoy the little things that this team does right. And that's going to wrap up the video. Let me know what you think. Do you think the Blackhawks will be the worst team in the league this season? And everybody stay safe, have a great day, and stay away from COVID. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes, and hockey fans in general. This is your captain signing off. Have a great week.